Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Cross Circle, the official podcast for PlayStation Source. I'm your moderator, Christian Buckley, joined, as always, by Mr. Kevin Diaz.
Chia! What's going on?
This is episode 8, by the way.
Episode 8. Shout out.
We have our third week of our fall preview to go over. But before we get to that, how are you doing, Kevin? How's Ratchet & Clank going?
I'm good. I'm near the end of Ratchet & Clank. What I assumed was to be kind of like the pace and the structure of the game pretty much has been far. It's good. You know, just the biggest takeaway and the biggest praise I will say about this game is that especially like in its dialogue, it doesn't take itself very seriously. Like, it's very funny in that way.
All the weapons, too.
Yeah, the weapons are really fun, and I think there was a line that was today. Someone it was one of the characters. They were praising someone for always being negative in comment sections online. They're like, oh man, like that must take like a lot of energy to do. Like, like that's great. Like to be that critical of everything. Yeah. So like just those funny bits, and it's just a very chill, laid back, fun game. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I think it's great. And plus, I just finished playing Last of Us again, so it's been a nice kind of just like exhale. But then I'm getting right into put Left Behind probably next. Yeah. But what about you? Playing some games?
Yeah, last night I stayed up for like till 3 a.m. I think, and I finished God of War. Finally.
Actually, I saw you still on God of War. I got off. I'm trying to think. Maybe like 11 o'clock my time, so that had to have been 2 o'clock your time. So yeah. And I saw you were still on, so I'm like, all right, bet. I think he's trying to finish that game, tonight. So
yeah,
want to give me a short TLDR, your thoughts on God of War? Because I know you were kind of wishy-washy.
I was like, enjoying it, and I thought it was a very well made game. Nothing was like crazy mind blowing. It was like just a very high quality all around.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the ending is fantastic. It's very good. And,
man, like, I go back and forth with that and Celeste, back and forth for Game of the Year. I think, it's hard. It's tough. But that's not the game we're talking about today. Take it away.
So, we are talking today about, I think, maybe the follow-up to your Game of the Year last year. Was that true? Because I know you really enjoyed this.
I would rank it as one of my Game of the Years of 2017 for sure.
All right,
yeah. I would definitely rank it amongst them for sure.
All right, so today we're talking about Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Shout out.
So we have a lot to talk about for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. There's not surprisingly, I guess, because it comes out in about a month or two. We have lots of info to talk about for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Lots of tidbits to go over. I guess to introduce, first off, what is your pedigree with Assassin's Creed? Because my first Assassin's Creed was 2, and I played 2. That was mine. I played Brotherhood, I played Revelations, I played 3, and then 3 I fell off for a bit, and then when I got my PS4, I think I waited a few months, and then Black Flag was on sale, and then I got Black Flag and absolutely loved it, and I just haven't gone back to any of the games since then. But what about you?
So mine goes, my first one was 2. I beat 2. And then I played, I believe, a little bit of 3. But I think I dropped out the same way as you. Not funny how that lined up. But I think I also
it's
did
funny
that on 3.
Because I was excited for 3 because I'm from Massachusetts, and that was they were doing Revolutionary War. It was Boston, and it was like Concord and all the places around here. I was like, oh, that's sweet. But yeah, the lead just blew it for me. But
I think I can't remember quite why I dropped out of AC3, but I did play Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation
on the Vita, right?
Vita title, yeah.
Nice.
I played that. I remember enjoying it. I thought it was just fine Vita game. It was all good. And then I think that was the last Assassin's Creed I got into before Origins. And Origins, obviously a big departure, and will be the same type of format we're getting with Odyssey as well that we'll talk about, I'm sure. But Origins has been definitely my favorite Assassin's Creed so far, 100%.
Yeah.
We've talked privately, and I think also on the cast too. But Origins really took me by surprise because I wasn't planning on getting it, honestly. And then heard obviously through conferences and everything and trailers that they were making this huge departure and doing things a little bit differently and having to lean a little bit more towards that RPG side, just a little bit more, and redoing the combat a little bit and everything. And I just heard the people that I follow in my kind of media followers and everything, and and all that, and they were loving Origins.
Right,
so
yeah,
I was like,
a lot of my friends were into it too.
Yeah, a lot of them were into it. So I'm like, you know what, why not? Let me just pick it up. And they were not wrong. I loved it. Origins was a great game. And, with this game following up Origins, now I'm extremely hyped for Odyssey. You know what I'm saying? And plus off the new stuff they've shown too.
So I missed Origins just due to timing last year because there were so many games last year. And, yeah, but Odyssey E3 was one of my highlights of the show. Like when they showed the battle on the beach, jaw dropped.
Yes.
I was blown away. That looked incredible. But
it's legit.
Let's dive into everything we have to talk about for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. First off, this is coming out October 5th. If you get the gold edition or higher, I think that's $80 or higher. Not positive on that. You get the game 3 days early, so October 2nd. That's an interesting choice.
You get it early?
Yeah, you get 3 days early.
Is that for physical in?
I don't know how they handle that.
How's that gonna work?
Because the thing is, I know a lot of I have a handful of Ubisoft games over the course of working on this channel being provided for review copies and stuff like that. But they always send the gold version, but it's always a code.
Right.
So I don't know how the gold version works physically. I don't know if I've ever seen a gold version of the game on a shelf, if I'm actually thinking about it. So I don't know how the physical works. It's a weird anyways though, just I feel like that's a thing that just Madden does, and FIFA.
Right. I'm trying to remember. I was like, wait, what do you? Okay, wait, yeah.
Yeah,
I follow you.
Get this version, get it early. It's a weird choice, especially for a single player game where people can just rush through it in those 3 days.
Yeah, it seems. Yeah, I don't know about that. Bonus as something that I don't know. And so wait, 3 days prior, it released on a Tuesday then. I'm assuming, or
is October 5th a Friday?
Or is October 5th a Tuesday? Yeah. I'm
assuming October 5th would be a Tuesday. Well, I don't know my dates this year, but
I thought it'd be a Friday. Let me look at that real quick.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, we're going to talk about the protagonists because for a first time in the series, you get the option to pick your protagonist between two options. This is not the first time you can play as a female protagonist in Assassin's Creed. Like Kevin said, he played Liberation. That was a female assassin. But this is the first time you get to pick. So you have Cassandra and Alexios. Those are your two options for who you want to play as. Cassandra being the girl assassin, Alexios being the guy. So, did you find the date?
October 5th is a Friday.
Got it. So
if you get that pre-order gold, you will get it on Tuesday.
All right, well, there you go.
So, back to Tuesday releases. Shout out.
So, Cassandra or Alexios, do you have your decision made yet? Because I am hardened on the Cassandra camp.
I was Cassandra. And then after that IGN release, I think it was last night, as of this recording, they released a little mission of showing a little bit of Alexios gameplay, and I don't think they released Alexios gameplay. I think maybe they did, maybe I missed it.
The E3 showcase was Cassandra though, so there was not a lot of Alexios yet.
Yeah, so everything from E3, all I saw was Cassandra, but after seeing Alexios, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I'm leaning towards. I think I'm gonna do Alexios. I think. I'm not sure. I'm not sold yet. But they're both worthy choices. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My only reasoning for Cassandra was out of what they showed at E3, she seemed more charismatic.
Yeah.
And the assassins that I always like are the charismatic ones like Ezio or Edward Kenway. I wasn't really into Connor being the really serious one, or the Syndicate stuff never really caught my attention because of how serious he was.
Yeah, I feel like definitely Balak from Origins.
Bayek, right?
Bayek. Thank you, Bayek. Yeah, sorry, let's scream that. Okay, Bayek. Yeah, him. I feel he kind of falls in between what you like, where he is very serious in a lot of the game, but then there's also that like he almost imposes as like the like neighborhood, great dad that is dope to the kids. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of like he could be your cool uncle and then flip and be like your worst nightmare. You know what I'm saying?
I
So
feel
like
that.
so he's not always the cool uncle. I think like that's how you kind of like your assassins a little bit. Like always kind of
at
have
least leaning that way.
yeah. It's hard to say if Bayek leans completely. I'll say it's like in the middle. I'll say he leans a little bit, but it's in the middle. But I think I'm gonna end up doing Alexios, but who knows? I might do another run through of Cassandra and get those bits. Yeah.
I'd be interested because right now the report is that there isn't much of a difference between the two,
Right.
story-wise at least. So I'd be interested if we did separate playthroughs. You did Alexios, I did Cassandra, see if there was differences.
I'm down. Yeah, I'll do that. Let's do it. Yeah, sounds good.
So yeah.
And then
There are a few tidbits
Yeah.
we should throw out there. There is an aesthetic difference and the way they voice act. They took liberties with their delivery. Obviously, you have armor and your clothes are more customizable than they've ever been in an Assassin's Creed game.
right.
Both characters have the same exact sort of trajectory in what they want to do. They're both Spartan mercenaries who want to be legendary warriors, and they're wielding Leonidas' spear. And Leonidas' spear is your weapon this time. There's no hidden blades. First ever, I think, in an Assassin's Creed game.
There's no hidden blades.
Not because, like you were saying, this game takes place before
Well,
Origins.
yeah, I guess you're right.
And
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
before
Wow.
the Brotherhood formed.
Yeah,
So
I guess you're right. Yeah, didn't even notice that. Yeah.
this like crazy spear they were showing off that can like shoot fireballs or like do crazy stuff is the driving force for their power, I guess.
Gotcha. And one thing I want to clear up for myself too, as well as people that are watching this, or whatever. So when you pick Cassandra, right? Is Alexios just not in her story, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense here?
The way it
or
is
he like
is
an
like
NPC? Yeah. What's
the
up?
way it is, it's like they're the same character. It's just you pick who it is.
Okay, right. Yeah, so they
It's not-
filled the same role.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Two
just
different
deciding what you want to look like, what you want to
Okay.
take
Gotcha,
your
yeah.
path.
Gotcha.
And one last note for your player character, they are descendants of the first civilization that's always been teased in all these Assassin's Creed games.
Descendants of the first civilization.
Yeah, you remember in 2, you could get those, if you got all those collectibles, you unlocked that cutscene of the two people in that futuristic city, like running and escaping something.
Right. It's been a long time, but yeah.
Right,
okay,
so
yeah, I
that's the
remember
first
now,
civilization. I know they have some integration with the modern day stuff, but the first civilization are the ones that Cassandra and Alexios both come from.
yeah. Okay. So we can see that lineage. Deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then just to speak to the customization parts of it as well. Origins had a lot of that as well. With obviously you could upgrade your armor, get new armor, get better armor, change how you look aesthetically, clothing wise. And so I think we've talked about this. We have talked about this as well on like a similar podcast. I think it was with God of War. With me, I don't really like to kind of change the way the protagonist is supposed to look. As too much.
Right.
So for me personally, for Origins, I just found like it was this blue and yellow Egyptian type of like uniform, and obviously blue and yellow, my colors. So I just stick with that. So I'm really curious to see how they switch it up and how they expand upon the customization, at least in Odyssey. So.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed usually I like the way they handle it because you can do the different dyes and stuff like that. With Ezio, I always kept red in there, no matter what changes I made to it, even if it was like black and red or just red and silver. So I like keeping the theme constant. So they're both Spartans, so obviously there's probably going to be lots of red for you.
For sure.
We did mention that this is before Origins. The exact era of the story that's going to be taking place is ancient Greece, 431 BC during the Peloponnesian War. So that is a big conflict between the Spartans and the Athenians, the people of Athens.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't like Athenas. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't. What's the term for that? Because the Spartans.
I think it's Athens.
The Sparta and Athens are the name of this, like the countries.
Shit. So from Sparta, you're Spartan. So then.
Athenian.
Yeah. Athenian. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But a big question I threw out to you as well, and kind of like our pre-show type thing. I don't know what you call it, but in Origins, it kind of told, not kind of, it did tell the story of the Brotherhood, right? So how exactly the assassins came to be and everything. It was from Origins, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I had the big question to you. I was like, okay, so if Odyssey is taking place before Origins,
correct,
right? What are they gonna tell here? And so I'm thinking, what I just jumped to my conclusion was that maybe our two heroes, or whichever one you pick, end up becoming Templars, and this is telling the Templar side of history.
Yeah, that it would be an interesting way to go, because my favorite thing about Assassin's Creed 3, spoilers for Assassin's Creed 3, was how you started that game as the main character's father, and he turned out to be an assassin turned Templar. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was very cool, because they didn't do anything exploring that type of a character yet.
Right.
So it would be cool. I think Rogue also touched on that in certain ways.
I believe so. I didn't play Rogue, but...
Yeah, so I was reading Kotaku's report that they put out around E3. I can link to that in the description of the video. They mentioned, along with the fact that they are coming from the first civilization, which is tied into Minerva and the goddesses and all that stuff, the crazy alien stuff from Assassin's Creed, something about the Pieces of Eden are going to be featured again.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if Origins touched on the Pieces of Eden.
To my knowledge and my recollection, I don't think so.
But so honestly, it wasn't like a plot point, right?
Yeah. It definitely wasn't a plot point. Maybe it was in like some crack or crevice in the game, but as far as what I played, I don't believe it did. Right. And if I'm wrong, then shoot me. Maybe it did, but I don't believe so. Yeah, definitely not in the main storyline. No way.
And in the same Kotaku article, they mentioned that the modern day sections of the game are going to be very developed. They really want to take it seriously, and they really want to push forward that story, because it seems like they've been going back and forth, and people have just been saying, oh, I don't want any of this, or oh, I love this. Why did you get rid of it? Be consistent.
Yeah.
So
I've heard a lot of people say like they don't want it in there and everything, and like with Origins, it definitely felt like an afterthought. I know it wasn't, obviously, you know what I'm saying, but it definitely felt like it was just something that was just thrown together and brushed, and not given that much care and not given that much time and attention, you know, because it would pop out, and I want to say maybe it was like 4 or 5 times throughout the game, and each section was like maybe like 5-8 minutes long, and mostly it was just dialogue and stuff like that, and so it wasn't really the most in-depth modern timeline we've had. I know we've had way more in the past and everything. I think it was 3 when you were like straight up like in the world and everything, and like you were
there was
doing
some
assassin-esque
stuff.
moves.
There was some stuff in 3 that Desmond went out and
that's the name.
Had to infiltrate some bases, but I think the modern day stuff can be done well, and I know Origins sort of did like a soft reboot. There's a new character taking the place of Desmond. I don't know her name.
Yeah. I forgot her name, but it's a lady. Yeah,
and she is also returning for the modern day segments in this game.
Okay, so she's back. Okay.
Yeah, and that whole crew are still looking for the Pieces of Eden. That's like the general idea of what plot we have going forward. Is they really want to focus again on the Pieces of Eden storyline. They want to focus on how all the first civilization, I guess, ended up following the path to become assassins. and the Templars. So it's interesting.
Okay.
I really want to see, because I think what you were saying about the Templar story, I think maybe this might show us the first civilization just as people, as warriors, and then we watch a clear divide happen. So, like, seeds are planted, right. So, like, oh, there's these characters who have these ideals, these characters have these ideals, and maybe the people who have the ideals that are closer to the assassins decide to ship off to Egypt. Right. Maybe that's how it ties in, you know?
Okay, I see.
And
then, I mean, that would make, yeah.
Just as a way to connect that thread of the first civilization to the assassins and the Templars, you know?
Right, yeah. I think we're on the right track here. I think so. I think we're.
Yeah, so I really want to see how they handle it because they can do some cool stuff with their lore. But moving on,
for sure.
We got some game mechanics to talk about. We have a lot of these, actually, more so than story and character stuff. So, we have a first for the Assassin's Creed series. This is not a first for RPGs because this has been increasingly more popular over the past few years. We got dialogue trees in Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yay! Dialogue trees.
Yeah, honestly, I think that adds to it.
I think so as well. Yeah. I think so as well. I wasn't like jazzed about it at E3. I was like, oh, okay, like, you know, it's pretty cool, you know. But it was especially in the IGN exclusive mission that they put out yesterday. There was a lot of different ways that you can fundamentally change how you go about a mission just by, you know, by picking different ways of saying something or different things to say overall that either give you an option to do something different or give you like another path to achieve something else, you know what I'm saying, like while still doing this. Like it was just really cool how they implemented that as well. But like, do you have any thoughts on the dialogue trees as well? Like, are you hyped for them?
I'm into it. I'm happy to see Assassin's Creed really embracing the RPG stuff, because I feel like just being a pure stealth game doesn't work much anymore, especially for Assassin's Creed. There's other games that do it well, but the thing is, Assassin's Creed stealth hasn't always been like great, you know?
Right.
So leaning into the RPG aspect really helps it out, in my opinion.
And like them leaning more into RPG, that was definitely one of the like underlining points of Origins. Like, hey, we're being a little more RPG this year, and it definitely worked.
And it seems like Odyssey's even more so now.
Yeah. It seems Odyssey's is just doubling down on what Origins was. Yeah, for sure.
So for dialogue trees, like you said, there are going to be different paths you can take in side quests, which is really exciting. You can have different outcomes. There's going to be multiple endings for the game.
Really?
Apparently. Yes, unless I misunderstood that and they were talking about missions, but multiple endings are in this game.
Interesting. Okay.
So
I did not know that.
I don't know the extent. I don't know if you're gonna have like an awful ending and then a good ending, because like what's the canon ending then, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Like that's what they say, because like now, like, okay, like, you know, if they make a next AC next year, or hopefully in 2 years, or, you know, whatever, we're gonna have like an Infamous 2 deal where it's like a bunch that you're gonna have to pick, you know, which one's canon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So I think they might be able to do. I'm not gonna spoil this, but The Walking Dead Season 1 from Telltale, the way they ended it all came, no matter what path you took, it all came to one specific thing happening. Just the way it happened was slightly different.
Yeah. So I think that's probably the best way to go about this, while still catering to everyone that wanted to do something different and wanted to branch out and do something a little bit more different than what everyone else was doing, you know, per se.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. Especially with the multiple branching path stories in games. It's not so much for me the ending as the moments that I get from it.
Exactly.
So having a similar ending as someone else doesn't really bother me that much.
Yeah, that's how I am too. That's how I'm on that boat as well. You know, unless you're weird about trying to get a specific ending in the game, and
I understand that aspect.
Yeah, because I guess I get that too, but I definitely fall in line of like, if we all reach the same, point, I think it's cool if we all had different routes that we took.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
There is more conversation topics, though, for conversation. Romance options are added to Assassin's Creed Odyssey. They're swooping in on the BioWare audience.
Let's get it, because in Origins, you only had one related to romance. You know what I'm saying? Like your wifey. So that was pretty much it. But nice how we're single. We're definitely mingling.
Yeah. So they showed in the E3 demo. There's options to flirt. There's options to lie. There's options to convince people to lean your way or your enemy's way. There's lots of different ways you can sway people and convince people to do things for you in this game. And romance is one of those options you can have now.
Now, with the romance, is it just more of like just a one and done, like, oh, in this conversation I flirted you, and like there's no effect?
I'm not sure. They never really.
Game, or like,
I don't know how heavily they've like gone into it, because at E3 they did show the option to flirt when Cassandra was talking to that woman.
Yeah.
But that's all I saw.
I just want to know like what are going to be like the benefits of flirting and romancing, like maybe like I don't know, like maybe you get access to restricted areas that wouldn't have been, that are controlled by your significant other. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm mainly interested too, is like, yeah, it's cool I get to romance these and like have like a little like personal flair to my playthrough that you probably won't have,
Yeah.
But I'm very curious as to what are the benefits are of doing so within like the game, within the game's terms,
Well, I know there's probably going to be a trophy attached to it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, of course.
So there's one.
Yeah.
Moving on, though, we have skill trees in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I know Origins featured skill trees, did it?
Yes, it did.
Because you're leveling up. Again, this is a heavy RPG system included in this version of the game. So the 3 paths for your skills are Hunter, Warrior, and Assassin. And those 3 are correspondingly for bow, melee, and stealth.
And that was pretty much the same layout of Origins as well. Probably like a little bit different, but pretty much the same type of layout where you kind of have 3 trees and you can build upon them, and they all had their strengths towards stealth, like you said, bow action, and melee. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So
pretty much same. Yes. Yeah. Same deal.
Yeah, it's cool, again, to see them branching out and actually pushing for this sort of thing. I know, like how you're saying with Origins, that they included it there the first time. So I'm interested to see what their second attempt at that is. Yeah,
because I would say the first, like, it wasn't, like, it wasn't anything insane, I wouldn't say. Like, it wasn't anything, like, too depth and, like, too wide of a scope. But it was somewhere in between. Like, it was a little bit deep in some places, and, like, there were some upgrades that I didn't really think I could be able to do with a skill point, but there was a skill tree thing involved in there. So, like, there was a lot of things where I was actually surprised that they actually had that in the skill tree. Not from, like, a bad way, but just been like, oh, okay, like, that's, like, cool. They included that in there, and everything. But it just didn't... not that I'm asking for like this granular, big skill tree, but I'm really curious to see what they do next year with their first take kind of being kind of like that medium sweet spot, I'd say, where it's not too much to overwhelm you, but not too shallow to, displease you, so.
And they also commented on the fact that I know from what I'm aware of, at least, people weren't super into stealth in Origins. I don't know how you felt about stealth.
I didn't find stealth as required in the beginning hours of the game. I'd say maybe like my first like 10, 15 hours, I went pretty much just all good, whatever. But then like there comes a point of, if you're disregarding side missions and if you're doing it too much, the level that you are at currently and the level that the game kind of expects you to be at pace-wise will eventually just drift, and you'll be way underpowered, So in times where I was way underpowered, up at like a few levels, I would utilize stealth a lot more in that sense. Just when I knew that I was a weaker opponent, when like I knew like I wasn't going to get the edge on like a straight up no stealth run.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So definitely that's where I found stealth to be useful. But overall, I wouldn't say it was like hindered or was something that the game kind of told you not to. It just gave you a lot of options to do other stuff, as opposed to just doing stealth, because I feel like that was like a lot of the crux in the past
Right.
AC games, where like you pretty much had to do it stealth, and kind of like that's how like the game was designed. But I feel definitely with Origins, not that it didn't tell you to do stealth, it just gave you other options to do other than stealth, so
Yeah,
that's what I would say. Yeah,
they do want to improve stealth in Odyssey, so maybe they want to make it more viable or a better option in case it's not just the failsafe for, oh, this looks tough, like they really want to give you the option to approach anything stealth if you want to.
Yeah. Or maybe there's like innate benefits to doing something stealth or something like that. I'm sure they'll. Yeah.
So continuing with combat, though, combat is going to be similar to Origins, which was a shakeup from the mainline series, and they're also adding an adrenaline meter for combat. And what that does is it builds up over time, and once you get to certain points on that adrenaline bar, you can pull off super abilities. They don't know like specific or a ton of examples, but one of them was the Spartan kick that you would expect from any Sparta thing after the 300 movie came out.
Yeah.
So that's cool though.
Which I mean, as long as they say, hey, the combat's like Origins, I'm good, because that combat was satisfying. It was fun. It was intuitive. I enjoyed it a lot, and it also a little bit like that's kind of also like another reason why I didn't do stealth that much in Origins, just because like fighting face to face up front, it was just fun. It was just a little bit more enjoyable in that standpoint as well. So I think that's probably like another reason and like another angle why I didn't do so much stealth in Origins, just because the combat was just satisfying and fun, and like blocking and parrying and stuff like that. But the adrenaline bar, it kind of sounds like the same system that was in Origins as well, where like you had this like pseudo super ability, but it was really just like I think you just did more damage and more frequently. You had like less. They kind of like they lowered the cooldown, if you will, in between attacks. So I think that's kind of what they're getting at here with this as well. So I think it's just a reoccurring thing. But you mentioned that throughout the bar, there's like specific. Is there like 25%, 50, 75, and then like full on super? Is that what you were?
I'm not sure how much it's broken up, but I think the way they were talking about it was it's just more powerful the more you have built up.
Okay. Interesting, yeah. Because I don't think that was an Origin, so.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Another aspect of combat, though, and leaning into traversal as well as combat, is the naval aspect of Assassin's Creed that has been very popular since Assassin's Creed 3. So, obviously, we don't have cannons, gunpowder, any of that stuff in ancient Greece, and they didn't in Origins either. So, what we have in Assassin's Creed Odyssey is very much fitting of the time period. So you have tons of people on the boat rowing, you have spears, you have bows and arrows. So it fits in with that time period, but they really want to make naval exploration something that people enjoy doing. Like, I don't think you said you played Black Flag?
No. I didn't play Black Flag.
Right, I played Black Flag. So much fun to just sail around, go to island, just stop in the middle of the ocean, hop out. It's very satisfying, it's very fun to do. So seeing them continue to evolve that formula is always exciting. And they really put an emphasis on how big the map is, and they really want the water and the ship exploration to feed into that, because Greece is surrounded by water pretty much, So they really want to have a lot of the game take place or involve going through different like channels, small seas, all that kind of stuff. So how do you feel about that?
So, again, like you said, never played Black Flag. So my first naval combat in AC was Origins and everything, and it was interesting that you added that like with Black Flag. Could you like, I guess just off of the will of your own accord, just go on a ship and just go and explore and stuff like that, and hop to islands and everything? Like, was that how it was in Black Flag?
Yeah. So Black Flag, you had your ship because you were a pirate, and
yeah, of course.
Like the map had tons of little islands on it. You could just go in, pick up a chest, get a collectible, bigger islands with towers and that kind of stuff. But
Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay. So
you could just go sail pretty much anywhere you could see water and get off.
Right.
You couldn't go on every single piece of land because some things were just elevated above sea level, like very high. So anywhere with a dock or anywhere where you could easily walk onto land from swimming to it, you could get there.
Right. Because with Origins, they just had like boat missions, right? Where like I think there was maybe 3 or 4 of them throughout Origins, but it wasn't like you can go whenever you wanted onto a boat and just sail and explore whatever. So that is going to be really cool to see that in Odyssey, because with Origins it was just like, oh, like there's a mission where you're on a boat, you know what I'm saying? And you're doing combat, which the naval combat was fun. I will like give it that. Like it was cool. But I'll be glad to see a little bit more of it and everything. And with them saying that the map is bigger than Origins, right? I remember it was distinctively like it was maybe hour and a half into the game is when like you get to see the full map and the full scope and see all the areas that you haven't gone to yet. And it is even Origins is massive. Like it is massive, right? So to hear that Odyssey is making it bigger, all right,
yeah,
let's do it.
And they did say a lot of that can be attributed to the fact that they have a lot of water areas, so it will be expanded because you have the vast open water areas that you can use to travel with. So that does lend to the map size, but yeah, it's pretty crazy because they did say that they want to let people know that this game is going to have a very diverse map. So I'm not sure how much of Origins was that diverse. I know there was a lot of sand.
There was actually Origins I feel was very diverse.
Really? Because I know there were some cities. I know there was like some like metropolitan areas, and then there were some lots of sand.
Because there were like obviously lots of sand, of course. There was very cities that you would imagine Egypt would look like at the time, whenever. But then like there were also a lot of cities that just had white buildings, everything, stuff like that, and felt very Greek kind of Rome type of deal. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the diversity came from, I feel. And there was also like a lot of like greenery areas, believe it or not. Like there was a lot of parts of the map that looked like swamp-ish too. So I'll say Origins was pretty diverse, I'd say. A lot of sand, but pretty diverse in its own right. Yeah. So seeing them build upon that with Odyssey, interested to see what they mean by diverse, like from Odyssey's terms.
Yeah, because in my head already, just thinking of Greece, I can think of like cities, beaches, harbors, lots of greenery, cliff sides, forests. I think there's a lot of stuff you can do with Greece, so I'm really interested. Islands they can also touch on.
Oh, yeah.
So I really want to see what the map ends up looking like. It's going to be fun to explore, and Greece just has a look to it that's so aesthetically pleasing for me. I don't know what it is. I just think it's a lot of the white and the blues and the greens. But I'm gonna have a lot of fun going through that game. I can already tell.
Oh, for sure.
So there's a few things left that we should touch on for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Then we can get into some general speculation. That's gonna be fun. First off, is, like we mentioned earlier, there's going to be 300 epic style battles like they showed at E3 this year, which is really cool. Ubisoft has stated they really want to stick to being historically accurate with their characters that they're including. So we did see, again at E3, we saw Socrates, and yesterday IGN featured another historical character, you said?
Yes, it was Hippocrates. How do you say his name? Hippocrates? I guess how you would say it. Because in the actual trailer, like, they pronounce the names differently. So, like, they don't say, like, their names how we've heard them. Like, it's like Socrates instead of, like, Socrates, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so they just, like, say it differently, but this one, from IGN, it was Hippocrates that they showed.
All right.
And he's a physician, and he referred to Socrates as well, and, like, you know, knew of him. So, so definitely gonna have a nice rotating, you know, cast of very prominent people of that time. So it's pretty cool.
And because Assassin's Creed is so focused and so proud of their historical landmarks, there's no comment yet if the Explorer mode is going to be returning. They said they had no comment yet, but they did have something to say later down the line. So I'm assuming it's going to come back if they put that much effort into that map. Because
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, when I was a kid, my whole thing for letting my mom let me get Assassin's Creed was, oh, it's like historical. That was the case, and it worked.
Damn.
So
heck yeah.
For all the kids out there that want Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I hope for your sake it's in there.
Mom, it has Explorer mode, okay? It's just teaching me about, you know, Greece and stuff.
Yeah, what you just have to say, like, oh, look, there's this option where I can turn off the blood and violence and just walk around. It's cool.
Exactly. Just as if I'm really there. Yeah. There you go.
But in all seriousness, I think that's a really cool mode. I like that they put that in Origins.
Yeah, really neat idea. And I wish they would, like, update the previous AC games too. And
yeah, that would be cool.
I know they won't, but it'd be really cool to do, like, AC3 especially, you know what I'm saying? Like, during the American Revolution, like, that'd be dope.
Yeah, moving forward, I hope they just keep it coming back, because that is a really cool feature to have.
Yeah.
There's nothing else like that.
It makes sense, too, especially for, you know, it makes sense for AC, you know, being a very historical, you know, open world game and everything. Makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely like it.
So, I know for promotional stuff I've seen from Origins, at least, there was stuff with, like, Anubis and, like, some Egyptian gods, right? There was some, like, event fights or something like that.
Yeah, they, like, to me, it was kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, visions, if you will, I guess.
Okay.
Kind of like when you have, like, an episode, you know what I'm saying? Like, have a moment where you kind of freaked out. It was similar in that vein. So yeah, there are some stuff, and, like, I know, like, there's some DLC of I'm sure you would know this way more than me, but, like, a giant snake was a thing.
Okay. I remember seeing that
in the game. Yeah. I fought that as well in Origins. You know, but I don't think it wasn't actually there. It's hard. That's, like, hard to explain. It was like a vision type of thing.
Yeah. But, so in the same Kotaku article that we were talking about earlier, they asked if supernatural elements would be returning, because, like you said, there were some extent of that in Origins. Also, the trailer we saw at E3 did end with a tease of the Minotaur. So their answer was interesting, because I took a Greek mythology class my last semester, and we talked a lot about the origins of myths. So the answer that Ubisoft gave was very funny, because it was essentially how we learned about myths. They said, if some guy with an eye patch attacks some woman and she tells that story, and that story just keeps getting spread and spread and spread, 100 years later, that guy was a Cyclops.
Right.
So that's just their answer to the supernatural stuff. I don't know what extent it's going to be, but it's interesting. I want to see how they handle that.
Yeah, same. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm very curious too.
And I don't think that would be main game stuff, like you were saying, Origins. Right, that was like side stuff.
Are you referring to the, like, weird, like,
the weird stuff?
Like,
yeah.
No, that was main game stuff.
Oh, it was, okay.
But yeah.
Well, I know there
was
were
main
some
game
stuff with the season
but-
pass, right? That was like trippy.
There was stuff that went on that was really really trippy that I didn't play personally. There was some like expansions and DLC that they put out that I didn't delve into that definitely felt like that was like the center point of Origins, but I wouldn't say like the center point of Origins was the like weird like mythological stuff.
Right.
It was just like sometimes it'd pop up, here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely interested to see how they handle it. It's not like completely out of the blue because the series has a history of gods and aliens.
Mm-hmm.
So, like having Zeus show up or something in some capacity, be cool. Be into it.
Dope.
I want to see how they handle that. But speaking of season passes, there's going to be season pass, and Ubisoft has stated they're going to be treating this like a living game.
Okay, so kind of like a ever rotating, ever updating. Is that what they kind of mean by living?
I guess, because if we look at Ubisoft's overall lineup of stuff, first thing that comes to mind is Rainbow Six Siege. Mm-hmm. Because that game is updated heavily and constantly.
Yeah.
And Origins wrapped up their DLC earlier this year, right?
I think it ended because I know they dropped in the like first half of 2018, but I'm pretty sure they're done at this point.
I know they've been good with keeping their games updated and putting out content for people. And I think
100%,
everything I'm aware of for how Origins handled it, people were generally positive on it because it wasn't in your face. It wasn't like there was no microtransactions, there was no loot boxes, any of that stuff.
Yeah, no. There wasn't anything like that, no. It was just like, hey, if you want more, there is more if you want, It's not like you had to, or it was something like super, weird,
Right.
Definitely just an option. Yeah. So hopefully they still keep that here with Odyssey.
Yeah. And I think they will. Ubisoft, I tend to trust pretty well with everything they do, especially recently.
Mm-hmm.
I think this gen they've proven themselves to be a very strong and very good publisher. So
I mean, they just care about their games in the long term,
Yeah,
they support it for a long time.
Yeah, and because of that, it shows them caring for their players.
For sure.
So I give them a lot of respect. I know it's fun to hate on them, but they got rid of towers for a lot of things, so
yeah,
that's fun. Towers are gone in this one too. They're not coming back.
Shoot.
So there is one last thing I want to comment on for Odyssey.
What do you got?
So that's pretty much everything we have to talk about for what's out there in terms of Odyssey. But in terms of Assassin's Creed, I want to comment on this. So I want to say that maybe a week ago or a few days back, a Reddit user, Dr. Manhattan, spelled Doktah Manhattan, found something in the intro scenes of Assassin's Creed 3 that's very interesting, especially because of where we are right now leading up to Odyssey. So they found a series of symbols. It was the Egyptian eye symbol that you imagine when you think of Egypt, followed by the Greek Omega symbol, which obviously ties into Odyssey, and then following that was a Japanese symbol. So
it's happening.
It could be it could be a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence that the Greek symbol came right after the Egypt symbol, like in sequential order.
Yeah.
So Japan next year?
Can you imagine if this goes big, right? If this discovery that this Reddit user found, very clear as day, we have the Egyptian eye, obviously Origins. We have the Omega symbol, clearly Odyssey, taking place in Greece and everything, stuff like that. And then that Japanese symbol. And if they come out next year and it's not Japan.
Oh, God. I feel bad for them.
And like it's everyone has been dying for an Assassin's Creed in Japan, like
it just makes sense
since what, like 2010, it's been a long time. A lot of people have wanted this, And especially after Origins, now I want it a lot more. You know what I'm saying? Especially, okay, so for me, Origins is kind of like my coming home to Assassin's Creed, right? Because I didn't care about it for a long time. You know, ever since, like, I'd say heavily, right? I'd say from Assassin's Creed 3, in between that and Origins, definitely where I didn't really care about the series that much. Aside from Liberation, which I think was after Assassin's Creed 3 launched.
Right.
I played that on the Vita.
Yep.
But other than that, you know, didn't really care about that much. So, like, for them to have Origins, a great game, and now there's a rumored Japanese Assassin's Creed to be the third iteration of this kind of, I guess, trilogy they're doing, I guess you could call Origins Odyssey, and then whatever they call the Japanese style, hopefully. You know, I'd feel so bad if they just didn't.
Yeah,
they went with like something random, like, oh man. Like,
yeah, like you have to think about it though. They're gonna do it eventually.
They have to. They have to.
There's gonna be a point where you run out of European countries. You know.
They have to. Yeah. But I could like. So, what do you think they could do besides Japan? Like, if they were to do, like, the unthinkable and not do a Japanese AC, like, what do you think would be that other AC title?
I'd like to see one. I don't know how Timeline works with this because of what Origins established. I think it would be cool to see one as, like, an Aztec Assassin's Creed. Maybe somewhere in South America or, like, Central America. I feel like that would be really cool.
I would love... Oh, dude, I would love it.
Because they haven't really touched on that.
I would love it. If you hear that noise on my mic, I'm sorry. I apologize. I think they're cleaning on trees outside. But me being a Hispanic, I would kill to see one in like South America. That'd be dope. Yeah, definitely, 100% want that. That'd be lit. But I want Japanese a little bit more, dude. I think it makes sense for the series.
Oh yeah, Japan is the one I want to see them do.
Now, okay, would you feel bad at this point? Let's say it's coming out next year, 2019, right? Let's just say, right? We do have a lot of other Japanese games coming out.
We do.
You know, we do have a lot.
We wanted them for so long, and everybody decided to do it at once.
Yeah, and it's like, man, like that could be an issue. You know what I'm saying? With Ghost, you brought up Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. There was a few others that I'm forgetting right now.
Neo 2 got announced, City 3.
Neo 2, you know what I'm saying? So I think that could be a big issue where we have a lot at the same time. Yeah. And it could be a little bit of a fatigue, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do think if they keep with this style of Assassin's Creed, it'll really stand out because if we think about it right now, Sekiro is sort of leaning on the action side of Dark Souls rather than the RPG side.
Okay, right.
They said that it's focused on an action game. And
right. I don't know about Neo. I haven't played Neo. I think you played Neo? Did you play Neo?
I did not play Neo.
Okay. So I'm not really... Yeah.
Neo 2, I don't think is anytime soon. They said they just wanted to announce that. So I don't think that would come out around the same schedule, but... As far as Ghost goes, I feel like...
I could see Ghost dropping next year, I think.
Oh, I could too.
Wait.
Yeah, I could see them next year. But
I see it. Will they? I don't know, but I can see it.
Yeah, I think Ghost benefits from... I get, like, Arkham vibes from Ghost. I don't know why. I think it might just be the gameplay or...
It's definitely a slower paced combat, I would say, for sure.
Yeah,
it was definitely a lot slower. And if we're calling Origins combat very similar, almost identical to Odyssey, then I would say Origins is definitely it's a lot more faster than what we saw from Ghost, but it's not like so fast. It's like a hack and slash,
right?
You know? It's somewhere in that in between. Yeah,
I do think there's a place for all of these games to exist together. Like Assassin's Creed, you get the crazy in-depth, like, quote-unquote historically accurate version of feudal Japan, which is rad, and then you get Ghost of Tsushima that's really leaning into the samurai, like, single-player focused story, which is probably going to be a better story than most Assassin's Creed games. Not hating on the story in Assassin's Creed games, but there's a certain quality you expect from it, you know?
Right.
You're not expected to be blown away by the story. And then Sekiro, really all about the gameplay.
Yeah.
So I do think there are ways that all of the games can exist together, but you do bring up an interesting point that it seems like it's all at once. We're finally getting that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like unless some of these games get pushed, you know, because I could see Assassin's Creed Japan launching next year, no problem. You know, after seeing Odyssey, which I'm even surprised that it's even coming out this year.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, because I thought they were going to stick with that. Okay, you know what, guys? We're going to take a year off of AC. Origins will be a 2-year developed Assassin's Creed game. You know what I'm saying? But it seems like that was just more of just a catch-up on reinventing the Assassin's Creed format.
Right,
you know?
And it's also worth mentioning that Odyssey's been in development for a long time.
They did say that, yeah.
I don't know the exact date, but it's been in development since at least Origins was in development.
Which that is crazy to me. That is crazy. If Ozzy has been in development during the same time as Origins,
I don't know if they started at the same time, but they were working on like Odyssey the same time as Origins. Because
there are a lot of locations, at least in Origins, that man, it's like I wish you played it because like it does at least the architecture, you know, and the actual landscapes definitely looked a lot.
Yeah, like that whole time period does have a lot of crossover. Like those two states,
yeah, which I'm sure
those two nations have lots of interaction between each other. Like Caesar has some historical representation in Egypt. Cleopatra, there's a lot of intermingling between the two nations.
Right.
So it is cool though.
Yeah,
it makes sense that they're going Greece after Egypt, or they're doing them back to back at least because there is a connection.
Right.
But
yeah,
I'm very excited to see how it all comes together. October 5th, October 2nd if you buy the special edition.
Yeah,
I'm excited for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So I think.
Do you think you'll get the special edition? Do you think?
I don't know yet. I'm interested. I like some of the stuff that's shown in there.
I won't. But do you want to agree straight up here live that you'll play Cassandra, I'll play Alexios? I'm sure we can do
for sure. I'm gonna do Cassandra.
Contrast. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Deal. Just of course I gotta do it. The last segment of every single cross circle.
Of course.
The February 22nd, 2019 game launch. As of right now, Anthem, Days Gone, Trials Rising, Metro, and Dreams.
Potentially.
None have moved. Potentially, I'm sorry, rumored. Yeah. That one's rumored. Mm-hmm. None have moved. There's still a calm on the battlefield. That's all.
I'm waiting for the next one to announce February 22nd.
Oh, I want someone to do it so bad. I really want it. Someone just do it.
Push Red Dead.
Pool. Oh my gosh, dude. Can you imagine? Yeah, everyone, listen, everyone would run. Everyone would run from that day. Everyone's gonna run. Everyone's gonna get out of there.
Yeah, they'd run to October to fill Red Dead's spot because that's probably when they want it to come out originally.
Something, but those games will move within like 2 weeks for sure.
Oh yeah,
100%.
But if people want to keep up with your immediate reactions for delays for the February 22nd date, where can they find you online?
Absolutely. At the KDS123 on Twitter, THEKDIAZ123. You can follow me on there. And you can, of course, subscribe to the channel right here. I post very frequently on this channel. Make sure to follow us to keep up with the latest and greatest in PlayStation. And if you... Oh, also, my PSN. I don't think that's in these in our descriptions. I'm not sure. But follow me on PSN. Play a little Black Ops 4 beta this weekend. KDS123. So it's essentially my Twitter handle without the. That is my PSN.
All right, I'll throw that down if you want.
There. Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, and if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at Chris N. Buckley. It's listed on the screen currently. But that is going to do it for this week's episode. Next week, in our fall preview, barring some crazy news coming out, we are going to be covering Battlefield 5 and Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I am very indifferent about both of those, but Kevin knows a ton about Black Ops 4. He's getting in on that beta, so look forward to that. But until next week, thank you for watching, Greatness awaits. We'll see you in the next one.